See, you can't build this based on, yeah, they like it at $100.
Meet Rice University business professor Mark Epstein and his MBAs. Epstein and his students are in Kigali, Rwanda's capital, as part of a hands-on business course to commercialize 4 biomedical products designed and built by Rice engineers for the developing world. A lab in a backpack, a breathing aid for preemies, a battery-powered IV drip monitor, and a clamp to prevent oral overdosing.
So the way you really increase profit is by driving down cost.
But the trip to Rwanda is just one part of Epstein's Management 748, an MBA elective that begins 10,000 miles away at Rice University's Jones Graduate School of Business, where in the first phase of the course, students learn about global health issues and microfinance. Each day during their working week in Rwanda, product teams, each made up of 4 MBAs and a Rice biotech engineering student, set their own course from their hotel headquarters in Kigali to demo their products and conduct interviews in hospitals, remote clinics, government offices, and NGO headquarters scattered across Rwanda. Days were bookended with breakfast and dinner speakers from banks specializing in social entrepreneurship, NGOs focused in modernizing Rwanda's healthcare, local entrepreneurs, and doctors who have devoted their lives to serving Rwanda. On their 4th working day, each team sent a representative to pitch their products to the Principal Secretary of Rwanda's Ministry of Health, Dr. Agnes Benegwahu. As it turned out, the Secretary spent more than an hour with the students, regaling them to stay in Rwanda and leave their products behind with her.
There are so many people in the developing world that can be saved by just using technology in the services of what is already there. That they will save a lot of life without knowing. And I think that's the best thing a human being can never dream, to save others.
When we were going to Rwanda, I was very apprehensive. I was like, we don't have a plan. Where are our meetings set up? What are we going to go there and do? I just don't want to land there and sit in the hotel room. And so I was really apprehensive about the method of teaching before leaving. But I think reaching Rwanda, we realized that all the meetings had to be set up while we were there. And it is one needs to first absorb the environment before coming up with a plan of action for that environment. And I think that's what Professor Epstein enabled us to do. By letting us have that freedom, we actually developed our own business plan, our own impressions of the country, and learnings on our own. And I think sometimes not being spoon-fed and actually going out there and figuring out how to go about developing relationships in a new country is far better than actually just learning it over textbooks. So I think this combination of theoretical learning initially in class and being out there and totally going on ourselves and learning really helped solidify a lot of business concepts.
The approach I take is to try to stay out of the way and give them support where they need it, answer their questions where they need me to answer questions, but mostly what I come back with is more questions for them to try to improve their critical decision-making and problem-solving skills around this issue and really think through it well from the customer's perspective who is going to have to buy this.
In the 3rd phase of the class, teams return to Houston to develop their business plans for turning their products into self-sustaining enterprises to hand over to interested entrepreneurs. The backpack team offered several versions of their product, from a diagnostic lab in a backpack to a customized pack designed for medical relief efforts. The team settled on a sales lease model where they would sell backpacks to governments and global nonprofits and lease backpacks to NGOs active in missionary and emergency relief. The CPAP team designed a 2-phase business plan for their infant breathing support system, beginning with a product test phase in Rwanda and ending with a launch of their product to NGOs. The Accudose team offered a C-clamp device that prevents oral overdosing of liquid medications. They split their markets into retail and wholesale, the retail segment partnering with a national syringe manufacturer and a wholesale segment where their C-clamp would be leased to global syringe manufacturers. The IV drip monitor developed a 2-phase program, beginning with a pilot program in Rwanda and expanding to a production and distribution sales company that would sell their product internationally.
In a couple of decades, Africa will be one of the most important markets in the world.
It's hard because you want to have economies of scale, you want to reduce your costs, you want to have manufacturing, and that, the infrastructure in Rwanda is really poor.
There's no real prescription when you go to developing countries. So if you did know what you were supposed to do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you'll find that most of those plans fall apart rather quickly.
So you need to import most of your materials or your final product, which increase the cost because it's landlocked, so it needs to come from Kenya.
When we went there with our Smart Drip device, I mean, doctors were just all over it. They wanted it. The Ministry of Health said, "We need this now." I mean, that's a quote that's ingrained into my head, and there's no question, if we don't do it, someone else will, and we hope that this happens, and we will make this happen. We're only building and getting better. Last year was a very preliminary trial, and this year I think the success that we've achieved has been great, and we hope that next year it's even better. And we want people to take this forward and take this device forward and make it a business there.
And I think what our students are involved in is really at the core of what this country needs. It needs entrepreneurship, it needs health technologies, and the combination of that is really going to have a tremendous impact.